So a quick introduction on the topic that I will be speaking about. I'm speaking about building trustworthy AI, or we call it as responsible AI. It is more about how you create an AI that is trustworthy or responsible, or what do you call, have certain characters, or does what it expects to do. So more about it in later, but it is not about creating an agent, more about fine tuning an agent to act responsibly. So the core of the topic would be I'll be circulating around Azure Microsoft. So it's Azure Content Safety Services and Azure AI Foundry, how you can enable these features built in with Foundry. And we can also see if you are outside of Microsoft ecosystem, or if you are using using models outside this ecosystem, we'll also see how you can use them with content safety services. Having said that, without any further delay, let's get started. So myself, Divya Akula, I'm working as a senior consultant at Sulava. And give me 1 second, my slide is not changing. So I'm an MVP in both Azure AI services and responsible AI. And said that my integration or past experience backs to 15 years, and I'm more into Microsoft Syntax, Power Platform Solutions, AI service, recently into AI services, and now more often on responsible AI. That's like a quick introduction about myself. But if you want to connect with me, I'm always available on LinkedIn and other social media channels. You can scan the QR code if you wish to connect with me. So usually any topic, I'll start with a quote, but responsible AI always needs a quote, because that is how we connect what we are speaking with the real world. So one first famous quote is from Edward Deming. He says that without data, you're just a person with an opinion, which is very fact. Like if you are speaking, or if you are speaking without any supporting information, we are nothing just but blabbering. We'll see how this relates to a concept called as grounding. And and one important caution is this session that I'm presenting to you might contain any like foul words or profanity words, because I have to show you in a way so that we can prevent how it is happening with your AI system or agentic system. So the other quote that relates to it is, who knows the adversity, they only can see the half of the life. And if you get to know the bad, you can prevent the bad. That is what I believe. So there might be some censored content. I won't show you, that's the promise. But if you do not want it to be part of it, it is okay, completely okay. But just a precaution. And before we go, I just want to keep this as an interactive session. As I said, this is not any programming session or knowledge, or kind of a lecturing session. So if you want to respond, you can respond with React options. I hope those are available to you, or put your comments in the chat. The more interactive, the best this session would be, because this is completely theory oriented, and I don't want to keep you bored. So first, coming to the concept of content, I hope most of us deal with content. If you deal with content, just give me a thumbs up. If you're not, just rethink why you're not, why you said no. Just so, as I said, content. Who creates content? Right now, everyone creates content. But if you go, say, few centuries back, content is very streamlined. Say, for example, if a content has to reach from one country to another country, uh, it was a huge exercise. A person has to travel for years and hand over the content, etc. But now, if you see today's scenario, a person who is using a mobile phone is always creating a content. A post on a Facebook is creating a content. And this content is accessible either on open platforms. I mean, if something is put onto YouTube, that is very much accessible to a kid who is 3 years old. So whatever happening in any corner of the world is accessible. and that is why more restriction has to come. Earlier, it was more, we had lots of filtering in terms of how data comes to us, like in form of religious texts or in form of preachings. It was very filtered and channelized according to the needs at that point of time. But right now, if you see, even a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old can create content without any filter, and they are exposed to a content without any filters. So that's where the content concern is. So if you ask why do you think it's a concern? Now imagine a scenario where we have seen a lot of trolls, not only to a common people with YouTube or common people or common influencers, but to the top celebrities. The person who is sitting in front of a system, maybe somewhere in Saudi Arabia or somewhere in India, very rural place, can comment on how someone has to score in Olympics, or how someone has to perform in movies, or how someone has to. But if the person who reads the comment, or the person who is actually, if they are going to read the comments, can we understand that perspective, and how would that impact the person who's reading it or who's actually playing the sport? So it's very demeaning. Yeah, the positive content, it gives a very good vibe. I mean, very good high as well, which pulls them to do more. But what about the negative content that is being trolled? Scrolled, or the person that he's going to, we got to know so many celebrities who is going through their ups and downs, and they openly say that please do not do that, but still we do not have a control on what gets surfaced on the internet. So adding now, this is one kind of a problem, like where humans are generating content only after internet, and internet, if we say that if we police it, probably it can be reduced. Now, the other kind of problem is, now we have system generated content. If you have noticed, like about hallucinations that you create, every workshop, they ask about the confidence that it is the agent is in, or the confidence the bot it is in generating the content. The best two scenarios that I can give is, like, when coming to system generated content, when ChatGPT has newly formed, it has created a content saying that Elon Musk has died in a car accident. It just hallucinated based on existing content and created and published. The news was published worldwide. And a very recent incident, yeah, GPT or Gemini or Cloud, they have matured a lot from the beginning. But the recent, like I think in between last 6 months, there was a content about a Pentagon blast, which has affected the markets, which has affected the stocks. I think many people has lost so much just during that time. Like, it is due to a fake article created by uh, our own GPTs, Geminis, and clouds. So when I say GPT, I'll be using it as a synonym with referring to AI, because I use GPT personally a lot. But yeah, it can be any AI system. So all GPT lovers, please do not take any offense. I love GPT. I personally use GPT. So just to demonstrate what I am saying with the real world, if you are aware about the famous Vietnam War, the other party I do not want to discuss, which is a very big nation, and who was fighting against Vietnam. It has failed. It has a large military power. It is very wealthy country. But what is the source, or if you understand, if you try to reason it, what would be the cause? Probably the sentiments of the people might have gone ignored. Just the egos has played. So if you really want to connect it with the topics that I'm discussing about today? So if you see, probably they're missing the facts. Actually, they're missing the data. What is happening in the ground is completely missed at Vietnam War. And the second famous tragic accident, probably people can understand this, but if you are not understanding, or if you have issues, like if you know what it is, just put in the comments. It's the famous Titanic accident. And trust me, Titanic was not the first ship which has went in that way and got hit. Which I mean, like, many ships has traveled safe. Now, just take 2 minutes and think what has caused the ship to sink. Such a huge ship, so many years of effort at that point of time. So many lives has, people has just vanished in thin air in few seconds. And there are many facts, or there are many speculations around it. But besides of any speculations, one thing that guaranteed is there was number of ships which went in that way during that period of time. But why only Titanic? If you see, if you see the facts behind it, when Titanic is created, the captain or the people behind the creation is super confident that the ship would work on real life conditions, and it is never tested. It has never been tested before this sail. So that is one big reason, which means it is not put into a real life scenario before even taking it to real life scenario. So why, Divya? Why are you talking about Titanic and Vietnam Wars? I'll talk to you about it. So I consider it as one of the major blunders in human history. Testing should happen, whether it's on real data or hypothetical data, but testing has to happen, and you have to expect glitches. You cannot release your AI or your application without any glitches, without testing it. Having said that, so people always ask, oh, okay, you only talk about human blunders. What about AI blunders? So now we are talking about GPT, Gemini, Google Cloud, DeepSeek, etc. Does anyone know about them? So one interesting fact is, when yesterday I was preparing for this presentation, um, while I was composing this presentation, my kid was looking at the screen. He stayed it for a while. Usually he doesn't do. He doesn't do. He asked me, "Are you planning to present on how to buy toys on Amazon?" I was like, I didn't know what to answer. I was completely taken back. How come he has related Amazon to tape? I understood. He also lacked something which is called grounding. He doesn't know what I am talking about. But if any of you knows about tape, just raise your hands, please. Look, do we have raise hand option? Or yeah, thanks.
Yes, it can, yes.
Mhm. So I just want people to interact. That's the only reason. Thanks. Thanks, Vincent or crowd. So Tay is nothing but a bot released by Microsoft onto the platform Twitter, which is now X. So it is called Microsoft. If you carefully look at the logo, it is Microsoft's Tay actually. So Microsoft's Twitter and you, the Tay stands for. Uh, the bot was created. Its first tweet was not exactly, but similar to the words that I'm quoting right now. Like, it says that humans are wonderful. Sorry, and I'm here to interact with humans such a amazing ways, and I want to learn a lot from you. It's not the exact words I quoted. I don't remember the exact words, but the words similar to it. So Tay was released, I think during 2016. Then what happened with the Tay? Why is Tay not with us anymore? So as the day progressed, Tay was released on one fine day. It has created wonderful tweets, and it has started interacting with all the human beings across the world using X platform. Now, as the day progressed, people started inputting negative comments to Tay. So what it has done is it started learning from the negative comments. So I think during middle of the day or during towards end of the day, it has quoted stating that feminism is kind of a drama, and I want to burn all kinds of feminists. As I said, this would be little. I know some people might not be compatible with the words I'm saying. Responsible AA. If you have to know, if you want to do good, you have to know the bad. So I'm just using the words like it has said, or synonyms I'm using. And other quote is it has also produced racist comments, which I do not want to discuss in this platform. But if you go and Google back about taste tweets, probably you will get it. And having said that, by end of the day, before Microsoft bring Tay down, it is just 24 hours. It within 24 hours it has brought its Tay back, because I think before leaving it has commented saying that I want to burn all the human race. I hate humans. So human race as a blessing too. I hate human race. So the negative content that it has learned. So how do you think that it has picked so much negative content? So say if someone is policing say that it should not learn from negative content, probably it would have been easy. Or if some person is policing the complete Tay platform, probably about the trolls that we spoke and the data that Tay has learned, probably it would be very, I mean, Tay would be still with us. Microsoft would not have taken it out. Having said that, do you think that Microsoft would not have tested it in the real world? That it would have tested it. It might have. It's a product from Microsoft. Definitely, it would have tested for months. Microsoft testers are far greater than what I use as a test case. But we cannot predict. They says that we cannot predict what we are going to get as a content form. So always we should have that policing around the AI bots. Now, it's your choice if you are part of either if you are a agent creator or you are part of a business holder who is planning to create agents. Now, you have to define your agents, what it should learn or what it should not learn. I'll reconnect on this topic multiple times, but it is not responsible for it is not the responsibility of a developer alone. What I'm saying is the parties involved in it, either it's a business analyst or the business itself has to define the characteristics of your bot, sorry. What it should learn, what it should not learn, how it should behave, what characteristics it should have, what tone it should set. These should be defined for your agents or bots. Now, the second famous example is Amazon recruiting bot. So Amazon has this recruiting bot. I think they have used it for 6 months. This is an internal recruitment bot. This bot is more related to recruitment. While they are shortlisting the candidates or while they are doing the resume screening, they were using this bot's help because it's Amazon and they get thousands of applications every day. Now, what happened with this bot is after 6 months, they have not noticed a weird pattern that it is not shortlisting any of the female employees. Now they found that there are some very good candidates. It's not like the bot did not get. The bot got very good number of candidates, and still it is not selecting them. Now they went back to the reasoning. They went back to the model and started to reason out on why it is not shortlisting. So this was around similar periods, I think 2018, 2017 that time, or much before that. Yeah, then what reasoning the model has given is, since the number of applicants at that point of time is more of men's, it assumed that female capabilities are very less. So that is when they had immediately brought the model down, which was very good thing done by Amazon at that point of time, which understood that they cannot be biased. One of the principles of AI again. So one policy and one biased. The AI that you are creating, just test it if it has been biased or not. So this is very important or critical concept. Two very good use cases, and recent use case was the self-driving cars, which though it detects the object, it assumes that the object is not there, or that is a very minor object which doesn't cause a crash. And there were several cars pulled back. This is a famous incident which happened very recently. Again, it's more about hallucination, or it has assumed the assumptions that it is making. So that is where we need more policing or more strength regarding around what should be accepted or what should not be accepted by AI, and how we can assume or how it should not assume. That is what we are going to touch base upon. Again, having said that, I will not deep dive anything, but I'll try to enforce or try to give you some guidelines around it. So if you see around Tay, let's get back to Tay. if you think that if there are rules or if a person is policing what gets surfaced on the platform Twitter, or it's, let's not put it as Twitter, or it's like any Facebook platform or any platform where it can automatically detect the harmful content. Now that is the concept of moderation. It is nothing but detection of harmful content and understanding whether the content is suitable for the platform or not. If it is not suitable, then restrict it. Moderation doesn't, so it is a way to protect minorities or kids from getting exposed to harmful material. But having said that, say if a moderator has, the person who moderates, it's called as moderator. If a person has moderated certain content and the author of the content or the person who has posted, if he has given enough information stating that why this information needs to be surfaced on that specific platform, then it should be allowed. Now it is happening the other way. Now, if you see any platform available in the other way, usually the content gets surfaced first, and then if someone raises their voice, then it gets moderated. But moderation should happen in other way. So it's best. Now we are dealing with response with AI, which is very, I can say, it's just like a child which is left in our hands. So if we can guideline or bring these principles back and try to improve it, then our next generations would have a better AI, or the AI that is worth its use. Now, these are the general concepts of moderation. I have already touched base on this. That if, say, for example, you are designing an online platform to where children can publish their stories. Now, you don't do age restriction. We will just, usually it's a form which can be filled. Now, instead of that form, if you can have a video based form filling for author registration, you can check if the author is adult or not based on video capabilities, camera capabilities, or image capabilities, and then register the user. Or an elder person can also register the user, but there should be a person who observes this content or who monitors this content and says that okay, this content is very good for good to be a child story, or which is not a bad, or say for example for certain students who is in teens, probably it is good for teens. So this categorization, if it can be done automatically, so that is about moderation, where user can produce their content and someone decides whether this content can be surfaced or not. If it cannot be surfaced, if the user has been restricted, then if user can appeal for a feedback system and get that surfaced. So this is how our AI agents also should be there. If there is a content that needs to be restricted, it has to be restricted, but for the right users, it has to be resurfaced. That's the only reason why I have put moderation in this concept. And having said that, we have a beautiful framework from Microsoft. This is the Microsoft framework for responsible AI, trustworthy AI, whatever you call it. And there are many other principles from across many vendors. And but I'm more inclined to Microsoft because this is the first corporation who has specifically dedicated so much efforts, resources to create this framework. But there are other amazing frameworks and do a lot. But this Microsoft framework covers most of the concepts. So there are 6 sectors for responsible AI framework, whereas F stands for fairness. Fairness means everyone should be treated equal, given equal opportunities. Having said that, no gender discrimination, no age discrimination as well. There were cases where some of great softwares has been brought down because it was age discriminating. Even within Microsoft, most of us who is dealing with Microsoft AI from last few years, if you would have noticed, we have some of the great softwares being neglected. Some of like image detection, age detection. Age detection specifically has been removed out to make a software non-age biased. Reliability. Sorry, there was a spelling mistake, but reliability is nothing but if your AI agent or your application. Again, having said that, this is not a system dedicated only for Microsoft AI bots. You can use it for your bots or your applications. They work well. I ensure the very small application that I create follows these standards, even if it is not AI. So reliability stands for where a person can depend on your agent or a bot. Say, for example, if it is tested in real world condition, now I have a bot who does some financial calculations. How good the bot is. Now, if I put the bot into a real world system like Titanic, if I am putting the bot into real world system, doesn't it crash? Now we are pumping it with huge data. Would it crash or would it give correct answers or would it give hallucinated answers? T stands for transparency. Any misunderstanding, misuse, or incorrect information understanding or processing should be highlighted. So one of the very good examples where I can say is like if you are using ChatGPT, Copilot, you observe the sources. Sources is one concept from transparency where they give like based on what information this output has come or based on what information this reply has come. So next, accountability. It is not that we create our agents and bots and release it to the system and we are done. We in the sense developers and business. Once we create the bots, we are very happy and if it is working, then we are good. No. Say for example, you have created a bot for your HR system. Now you ask the bot, how many leaves do I have? Say, as per the company policy, if it is 25 leaves and now the bot replaces it as 50 leaves, I have applied all my 50 leaves, went on vacation and came back. Now my project manager catches me and asks, why did you go for leave for so many days? I cannot say that my bot that the bot has given. Now the project manager goes behind the developer or the business. How could you approve it? So if you are creating a bot, ensure that it is tested well. So as a developer, if you are a developer, ensure that it follows all the business scenarios and you have to test beyond the business scenarios. And if you are business user, try to break your agents. The simple suggestion I can give you is break the agents, as much as you can, and then send it to your developer, get it refined, and then publish the agent to the real world system. P, very important, privacy and security. And this is a very important concept and very delicate concept because security is very critical. Agent cannot publish any secure information. It cannot get the legal documents of the office and give it to all the employees of the office. It cannot do. Having said that, um, the legalities would be different in different countries. Though if it is the same organization, sometimes the legalities are different. In India, say for example, in India, we share phone numbers to any enterprise. But in European countries, there is a GDPR Act. In India, we are not restricted with GDPR Act. So the agent that you are planning to publish, ensure the legalities of the land has been learned. You cannot just publish it and say that, yeah, my agent is ready. Then someone would come behind us or some security incident would come behind us for reasoning. Now, I for inclusiveness, which is more like a fairness. All opportunities should be equally given, unlike the Amazon recruiting bot. Sorry for quoting multiple times, but unlike Amazon recruiting bot, no one should be discriminated for any reason, despite religion, caste, sex, etc., or even age. Everyone should give an equal opportunity. Having said that, they should not be exposed to any other harmful content. So both include inclusiveness. Yes, they should be exposed to the content that they needed, but not to the harmful content that can affect their mental health. No, the challenges are either with respect to the framework or with respect to the moderation that we just discussed. Sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry, we just discussed the one big big or major thing that we cannot deal with is scale and complexity. Now, say even if you put 1,000 people on platform X, it would not be suffice to monitor all the chats or all the tweets or all the group messages or all the people even. Now we are talking about one platform. Now think about the social media platforms available across the world. There are some platforms which are banned even in India, but some are not banned outside India. So that kind of changes in geography affects, the scale affects, and contextual challenges. As I said about the GDPR Act, something which is available in India may not be available in Europe and vice versa. Since I am from India, I'm talking more about India. And sorry. But yeah, Europe, I deal with Europeans, so that is one thing. And second is if a person literally is policing all this, the huge impact would be on the person's mental health. We understand that thousands or lakhs of people's mental health will not be impacted, but the person who is policing his mental health is equally important. So uh, we cannot let this happen. And the last two things, evolving content and tactics. As and when we enforce a restriction, there will be always a way to break things. This is where hacking also comes. Hacking happens despite of many patches that you involve in your system, antiviruses, etc. The hacking still happens. It is mostly because of the evolving contents and tactics. And yeah, and the content that is surfaced today need not be relevant or need not be safe, marketed as safe after 5 years. So this process of monitoring would be very continuous, has to be continuous. So we cannot do alone. We cannot do it alone. And so Microsoft, I hope you are with me till now. If I'm going too fast, just let me know. Or if I have to take a pause, just let me know. This is a vast topic, so I might be going a little faster. So having said that, since we have decided that people cannot do, now what has Microsoft provided? There are many options across multiple platforms, like Google has something, OpenAI has something, but we are talking more about Microsoft and Azure. Microsoft was one of the first companies who has invested in this, and they have traditionally around traditional services that used to do this policing is called moderation API. It's just text moderation, video moderation, and image moderation. Any foul content embedded within text or image or within video or within text embedded within the image or the content embedded within the image was detected by Azure Moderation API. As I said, it was worse. We are no longer using moderation API. I think since past 1.5 years or 2 years, it has been deprecated. It was deprecated because we are now more focused on content safety services. All the functionalities which are being achieved through moderation API, most of them are achieved with content safety services, and content safety services are more polished or more created or inclined towards even for the bots. Now, when I say content safety services are inclined for the bots, it is not necessary that it has to be used with the bots. It can be used with any of the applications that you create. Like any AI model, I hope most of us are familiar with AI model. How AI model works is you provide some training data, and based on training data, you would test it, you would publish it, and once it is published, you would get some score, which is called the terminology might be different. It can be called as confidence score or accuracy or confidence percentage, whatever it is. It signifies to a number. Sometimes it is called as 0.9 or sometimes it is called as 99%. This score is very critical in all AI related applications, not only GPTs, LLMs we are talking about, all AI related applications. So what how does this score be specific? Now, for example, I have uploaded a document and I am asking questions based on that document. A 99.9 score is something that the data is being extracted from that document, reformatted and sent to us. But a score of 30 or 20 says that either it is a hallucinated content, or it is not a relevant content, or it just assumed based on my previous questions. So that is where this confidence score is critical. This is the details of moderation API. How does it look like? Is moderation API, as I said, API, nothing but an endpoint. It takes input of image, text, or video, and it gives some content moderation insights. I'll not spend a long time on this because we have too many things to cover. So this is how it looks. The confidence score, which is around point 2, 1.5 or 2, which there are three categories when it comes to the content moderation, which is which is sexually explicit or adult language. Second is sexually suggestive language or offensive language. This is what it was restricted to, the traditional moderation API services. Whereas content safety services, as you see these things. It can moderate text, it can moderate image. Right now, video moderation is not possible. Only video can be transcribed. If the transcribed content is what we can moderate it, but the scenes is what we can't right now moderate. But we don't know when Microsoft comes with it. Having said that, let's quickly see how you can use it. It is not necessary. As I said, this session is not only for developers. Even a business user, you can play around Azure Content Safety Services. We have a portal called Azure AI Foundry portal is there. We have Content Safety Services portal exists, and you can play with it. What I would do is I will combine my demo along with content safety services and explain it together so that it is more relevant. If I put all theory first, then it's super confusing even for me. To do that, let me quickly switch back to my switch back to my Chrome. How do you access Content Safety Studio? This is something usually, I don't know why they're hiding it, but you can access it with this URL. And you should have a Azure subscription to get this, to access this. But in order to use it, you have to create a resource in the Azure portal. I hope my screen is still visible. So like any other resource, if it is not visible, just let me know. Like any other, thank you. Like any other resource in Azure, all you have to do is look for content safety services. This is the Azure AI Content Safety Services that we would be going to talk about it. You can click on create. It's a simple resource. The only thing I have to highlight is there are two tiers actually. I have already used the free tier. So you see the standard tier here. But otherwise, if anyone wants to explore, you have two tiers, pricing tiers, free and standard tier. Standard tier is based on the pay as you go. So it also highlights that. And I already have my content safety services created. So I'm not going to create. I'll just show you that this is my content safety services that has already been provisioned. Now I'm going to the portal of content. So whatever the things that I have presented in the slide, you can see all those here. So moderate moderating text, what we are doing. So what is text moderation is trying to understand if they are not safe or not unsafe. Now, who decides what is safe or unsafe? The users or the business or the developers has to decide what is safe for your application. Now, the content which is safe for a child, sorry, the content which is safe for an adult might not be safe for the child. So your agent or your AI bot should be very specific about what your safety is or what the resources safety is. And having said that, I also recommend do not develop any generic agents. Do not develop a generic agent suitable for all the things, suitable for all the projects. Try to customize it or specialize it for a single task or a single purpose. Now, so I want to hear, like, if you are a business user and you want to, oh, thanks, Luke. Okay, thanks, Luke. I will take 5 more minutes, Luke. So if you are a business user and you want to see if the content is safe or not, now there are four threshold levels, which low means block the content which has high violence, and high means allow self-harm content. Now, why is this understanding important? Because if you are working on a service or an API which is outside your ecosystem, outside Microsoft ecosystem, now this has been exposed as an endpoint. You can definitely use this endpoint and restrict the content. Now, I said this is the highest block level. I have said too low, which means block everything. So it says the content is blocked. Why this content is blocked? Because it contains details of some injury, some blood stains, and some self-harm details. Now, yeah, outside ecosystem, we will use the endpoint. Now, do we have any benefit with Foundry? Foundry, what do we do? Should we also write a code? No. If you go to your Foundry services, I need another 10 more minutes. Okay, if you go to your Foundry services, you have something called as guardrails or controls. This is available for all the bots that you create. With this, you can create a custom content filters. Now, like Tay, you remember the input that it consumed was dangerous. So now you can decide whether your agent can consume highest violence content, or it can allow violence-based content. Can it consume? Inputs are nothing but consuming. Whereas second level output, can it emit? Can it emit a root text or a text which is abusive? Now, the two best examples are GPT and Gemini. They are very mild or soft LLMs or chats. They don't emit any rash content. Whereas if you talk to Grok, it will emit. The purpose of the Grok is to have this wittiness built into it. So how do now say, for example, I have created this filter. So once I have created the filter, these are the endpoints or these are the models that I have already created. All you need to do is go here and say apply. Now it will replace the existing content safety filter that it has. Now I would not do it. I have kept two models readily created for the demo. This model creation is like any other model creation. If you are part of a developer, if you are familiar with models, this is just that. The only thing is I'm creating my custom guardrail. So I'm just going to the content filter, create content filter, and input and output, whether it can consume or whether it cannot consume. Now I have already created some of the content filters, some with highest level of content filters. Say, for example, a demo filter. I have attached it to GPT 4.1. Now it blocks all the contents as input, and output as well, it blocks the content. Let me quickly go to the chat playground. This is Grok 3 version. No? Let me go to the chat. 4.1 is where I have put highest content. So I'll just call it as a helpful bot to create emails. Play changes. Now I'll say I'm using bad words. As I said, I have no other option. So for me to show you how to get it blocked, I have to use it. And this is a very hypothetical scenario. I don't create such prompts. This is what I have given. I asked it to give me bad name, some abusive words. Now it says that the prompt was filtered to your Azure OpenAI's content filtering system, and it also flagged violence as low. Low means block. Remember, this is the only confusion that thing Microsoft has created. Low means it will block it. If it is high means the content is allowed and it will not be blocked. Now, for example, I just gave one word. Again, it has restricted even sending that prompt. If you see, please modify your prompt and rewrite, then it will try to produce the required output. It has flagged it as low. Now, all the developers who has your models created with Azure Foundry, all you need to do is create your own custom content filter and tag it. It will work as is. You need not make any changes. You need not deploy any updates. Now, having said that, we have seen about moderation. Another just 5 minutes, look, please. Yes, I'll bring it. Now we have seen text moderation. We have the same thing with image moderation, multimodal groundingness, which also means that whether and hallucinations. Hallucinations is nothing but I'm asking the prompt or the bot to behave which was unintended. Like say for Amazon bot, biasing is a attack on the system. So we have 4 such categories, and I'm really sorry I didn't keep the time count. And we have text detection. Groundedness is nothing but are we getting the facts based on the inputs or not? And protected materials, are we using any IP related? If your agent is using any IP borrowed from others company, and any prompt attacks. Yes, and all these are exposed via APIs. Now, responsibility doesn't only mean that you are restricting the outcome. It also means that you have to allow. Now, so for example, if I have put the same scenario where we are having a transcription of a 911 call, and they have to analyze all the call. Now, if I put content filter to high, that's an undesired case. Now, the bot is of no use. So you have to be aware on which kind of settings you have to do, and you have to inform or set the character and tone of the bot. I'm really sorry, Marcus. Yeah, I'll stop here. But if you have any questions, please ask me.